Coaching is sometimes used as a generic term to describe giving employees performance feedback, often when things aren't going well. However, for this training, when we talk about coaching, we're talking about a management style that encourages employee development and growth. It's also useful to contrast what coaching isn't. It's not progressive discipline. The Harvard Business Review Guide to Coaching Employees defines coaching as a style of management primarily characterized by asking employees questions in order to help them fulfill their immediate responsibilities more effectively and advance their development as professionals over time. The purpose of workplace coaching is to help your employees to become star performers. It uses a format that allows employees to find their own opportunities and solutions. And because coaching empowers employees, it will improve engagement and help foster independence. A coaching approach is not a top-down approach. It places ownership of the employee's performance jointly with the manager and the employee. Coaching may take a while to get used to, but ultimately it can yield great results for you and your team. It's something that can be informally integrated into the day-to-day management of your team, and much of your coaching will be informal as part of ongoing conversations with employees. Coaching requires regular and open communication, as well as trust, between the employee and the manager. It empowers the employee to take an active role in their career development and empowers them to be solutions-focused when looking at issues related to their job. This approach enables employees to learn a lot, but it can sometimes take a bit more manager time initially. It also may not work in all organizations. The company must be supportive of such an approach. Bureaucratic, top-down style organizations may not be the best candidates for coaching. But you can also have more formal one-on-one coaching sessions with your employees as the need arises. For example, if you see untapped potential, if you've got an employee in a new job, or you see that an employee is struggling. Formal coaching sessions should be kept separate from anything related to disciplinary action. And that brings us to our second topic, progressive discipline. Let's look at how it's different from coaching and when each one is appropriate. Progressive discipline typically follows the steps of verbal counseling, written warnings, possible suspension or other last chance measures, and finally, termination if the behavior does not improve. While progressive discipline does help protect the employer from liability resulting from discrimination charges and lawsuits, it often fails to bring about the kind of behavioral change that transforms employees with performance issues into fully functioning, committed team members. A benefit of progressive discipline is that it provides clear expectations and consequences for failing to meet those expectations. As a consequence, it can be seen as inflexible. For performance-related matters, progressive discipline can also be difficult to implement in a positive, solutions-focused way, as the format can be viewed as a series of punishments. And if it's not applied consistently, it can be viewed as discriminatory. HR and management have to make judgment calls about when to deviate from the prescribed steps. Another difference between progressive discipline and coaching is that progressive discipline puts ownership of the issue on the manager and human resources department. The employee is asked to take whatever course of action the manager and HR decides upon. This may lead to behavior change, but can also generate resentment. Unlike coaching, there is no employee ownership of the solution. With progressive discipline, employee behavioral change may be motivated by fear and may only happen when the employee is closely monitored. This can be a negative way to motivate an employee and, unlike coaching, doesn't increase morale or engagement. Unfortunately, progressive discipline is often used after a termination decision has already been made. For instance, a manager may have already decided that an employee isn't capable of changing or had waited until a workplace personality conflict is beyond repair, and the manager is, at this point, just creating documentation to reduce liability when they go through with the termination. While common, this is not an ideal use of progressive discipline. That said, it's important to note that some situations are better suited for progressive discipline than coaching. Progressive discipline will generally be appropriate for violations of certain policies. Sexual harassment, assuming it's not extremely serious, may be one, as would most types of misconduct. In these situations, it's important to ensure that the employee has written notice of the infraction and that there's documentation for their file about what happened. It's also important to make it clear that these situations are disciplinary in nature. As you've seen, coaching and progressive discipline are very different approaches intended for different workplace issues. Coaching is about building employees up, making them their own best advocates and problem solvers, and it's often a great place to start with performance issues. Progressive discipline can hopefully be reserved for more serious issues or when coaching has ceased to work.